everyone, and welcome to this week's Mondays with Madison. This week, I am super honored to have Conte join us, and we were going to talk about his life in his past athletic experience and his transition into working in college athletics. So stay tuned. All right, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi everybody, Conte, Director of Athletics at the University of Texas. It's about as good as it's going to be.
That's perfect. So before we dive into your professional athletic career, why don't you talk about your own athletic career and getting to talk about how you played sports growing up and how sports shaped your life?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I did not have the illustrious athletic career that you have had. However, sports played a huge role. I grew up in a children's home in Taos, New Mexico, so sport was always a big part of what we did. Right? And you think about any social movement, whether it be Jesse Owens, Wilma Rudolph, Muhammad Ali, Billie Jean King in the Title IX movement, or Juan Carlos in the Olympic Games in '68, even all the way up to Colin Kaepernick. So many things have happened through sport that impacted society at the same time. They kind of mirror each other. And for me, sport was, you're in a group home, you're kind of going through life, and athletics got you popular. Got you a prom date, got you noticed, got you to, hey, we're 30 miles out of town, you make a team, instant friends.
Right.
And you're not really worried about your social background or what's happening in your own personal life, because sport gives you that opportunity to meet new people. And that was my opener for me. It gave me a chance to, like I said, got into town, got friends from town, got to go to the prom because of that, all these things because of sport. I got a scholarship, went to Oregon State. They dropped the track team my sophomore year for this thing called Title IX. Title IX was passed in the 70s, but really started being enforced in the early 80s. They dropped track at Oregon State. They dropped baseball at Oregon. Ironically, brought them both back.
Of course.
And I transferred to UC Santa Barbara. That was the second time where sport impacted my life by not realizing how they were enforcing Title IX at that time. A lot of times men's sports were being dropped in order to balance out what they were looking for in the prong of Title IX. So by the time that happened, I sat down and I got a house parent at the ranch, became the team doctor at Washington State, and he got me a job in the maintenance department, and I worked for 4 years in the maintenance department.
Then worked your way up.
Then worked my way up.
Yeah.
So didn't envision Texas when I was mowing the yards in Pullman, Washington, but here we are.
Here we are. Like you said, you were an athlete at Oregon State and UC Santa Barbara on a track scholarship.
Yep.
So how do you think your personal athletic experience has shaped how you make decisions in your current position today?
Just at least having an understanding of what you all go through. To me, it's completely different than when I was there. Someone just told you, run up a hill. You didn't ask questions, you just ran up a hill.
Yep.
You all want to know why. I never asked why. I just did. You guys are like, I'm always, why do they really care about that? You're the generation who wants to know everything, why you're doing it, what is going to happen for it, and what's the benefit of it. To me, if they just told me to do something, I did it. I love your generation in terms of all the things that go with it, but sport at least allows me to know, okay, even though I loved football, basketball, I played them all in high school. Just wasn't good enough to play them in college. And sport track was the opportunity that gave me that chance. So knowing what you go through on a daily basis, and that it's still the game, whether it be soccer, track, or football, it's still the game. But it's still about getting an education. Only 2% of our kids go pro. The rest of you are going to change the world through education. Same when I was in school. It was only 2% of us went to go Olympics or whatever else it may be, but the rest of us through sport gave you a free education, and that's what's astonishing to me. It's awesome, right? When you think about the $4 billion worth of free education come through athletics every year.
Wow.
$38,000 is the average loan debt per student in the United States. The majority of our student athletes have no loan debt, free education, and they're going to use that free education to change the world. So similar in terms of when I was in school, yet the what's different now is just all the other media attention, that phone you're on, that you can monitor, YouTube, all this stuff wasn't around. And then the difference when I was a student athlete, I could completely screw up on a Sunday or Saturday night, which happened quite often. My coach really never knew for like 7 days. There was no instantaneous.
No text message.
No text message. No cell phone. So you had about 4 or 5 days to get your BS together before your coach. What the hell happened? Well, let me run something by you.
Well, it's taken care of at this point.
I didn't give him the business. He didn't know. Now, y'all are in my office constantly like, what happened? Arr. Where's the picture?
Thankfully, that wasn't a thing when you were.
Thank God. I would not have this job. I'd be selling insurance.
Oh, that's awesome. So previously, you have been the athletic director at Rice University and Texas Christian University, while also working at Arizona, Cal Poly, and Washington State. So do you notice any similarities between the athletic departments since you've been in college athletics for 28 plus years? Have you noticed any similarities between the different schools?
You ever saw the movie Hoosiers?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I'm going to watch it after this.
Let me tell you, it's a great movie. And it's about a little small high school basketball team in Indiana that has like 100 kids. And in Indiana, they have one state championship. You being from California, you have CIF, you have like Division 13 all the way up to Division 1. In Indiana, they only have one state champion. It used to be that way.
Wow.
So this is about this little small high school in the middle of Indiana that wins like all their games and then beats the biggest team in Indiana for the state championship. And along the way, it was like the gymnasium was like, it sat 100 people, then 400 people, then 800 people, then 1,000, 4,000, 15,000 for the state championship game. It's still a 94-foot court and a 15-foot free throw and a 10-foot rim. The dimensions are the same. In my travels, the dimensions of the playing fields are the same. It's just bigger.
The scale's bigger.
Just the scale's bigger. When I was at Cal Poly, we were Division 2. It was a 100-yard field. Just different. We were playing Humboldt State. We weren't playing Oklahoma. We were playing UC Davis. So it's just as you grow in the business, the game itself, the rules apply everywhere. It's just the scale is different. But it means the same to you at Cal Poly as it does, Maddie, to you at Texas.
Exactly.
You're the school, you love that institution, the passion, the pride of that institution, just the scale is different.
And ever since taking the job at Texas, you have launched several different projects like the South End Zone reconstruction at DKR. We got a new locker room, thank you for that, by the way. And even Bevo Boulevard and Longhorn City Limits that have enhanced the game day experience for fans for football games. So what has been your favorite project that has been launched that you've seen come to fruition, or which one are you most excited to finish?
I wouldn't say there's like a favorite. One of the things we want to do is like, for instance, the building for you all for track and field and soccer that was an antiquated building. So did you get a team room, lounge, which equipment room, training? You missed all that we gave you, by the way. The same for track was that for you all, that was big and important. For softball, they wanted new hitting cages, right? For baseball, they wanted something new. So we try to give every sport got something brand new. What I did was I tried to give every sport $10 million and said, okay, with $10 million, what can we do to improve your facilities? Because we had been behind the times. So whether it be track and field, rowing, softball, baseball, golf, tennis, every sport got something. Same amount of money, but they use it differently. Then we built a South End Zone project for football, which is antiquated, and then the basketball facility. So everyone's getting something that our goal for us is that we want to win a national championship in every sport. A lot of schools talk about it, but we can legitimately do it. Not only want it, but we can legitimately do it. And if you look at every one of our sports right now in the spring, we're in the top 5 in the country in everything. Top 10 for sure, but majority of them are top 5, maybe 1. Crew, both golfs, tennises, volleyball, softball, baseball. They're all just doing fabulous. So you start to look at, is it a reasonable goal that other schools can say they espouse to win championships, but we can legitimately do it. But if you're going to do it, then you better give you all the tools necessary to do that. So one of the things I wanted to do is not say that only we were going to do it, but then back it and actually do it by giving you the tools necessary to say, okay, there's not many schools now have better than we do. Right? So now, have at it.
Right.
You know, let's start to do what we espouse to do, right?
Let's produce, yeah.
And the hard part here is at Texas, everyone wants to beat you.
True.
You know, you're everybody's homecoming game. And the hard part for you all is for you guys to realize that. Is that everyone is gunning to beat you. So there's some games where you're just not, but when you come out with that jersey, you know, that jersey, everyone wants and aiming to beat Texas. And what happens after they beat Texas? They all go horns down, run all over and throw a parade.
Yeah, seriously.
And what happens is you all have to understand that's their biggest game. Everyone wants to be David. No one appreciates Goliath.
Right.
You all have to operate and understand how to operate in Goliath. Right? And that's the difference in terms of sport. No different than, you know, anyone that's in the classification that we're in, they're always trying to chase you. It's just that you're having a bullseye all the time on you.
A lot of schools rivals, for sure.
For sure.
Within the past few months, there have been new coaching hires within athletics, specifically Texas football with Steve Sarkisian and Texas basketball with Chris Beard. So what goes into making a new coaching hire, and how do you know it's the right time for a change?
I don't ever really want to make changes. I think those changes are hard, right? Because you're recruiting student athletes, you're asking them to come to your institution, you got families involved, it's not the head coach, it's everyone else around the coach, it's all you as student athletes, it's everyone involved. So a lot of times it's all circumstantial, and then you look at was there enough time to be successful? There's other mitigating circumstances. Is this just the time to do it? Everything comes into play. But if you're going to make a change, then you need to be, you know, thoughtful in how you do it. And then when you become that change, be resolute and have a plan and an idea who you want. You know, I always approach every search with, you have a wish list, you have a list the coach you can get, and you have the old poop list. You never want to go to the old poop list.
No.
You know? So you start with, hey, how about this person? Would that be great, right fit for us? And that has to not only be resume, but they are right fit for what we're doing. And we look for a lot of characteristics moving across the board. And fortunately and unfortunately, well, fortunately for us, we had to make a lot of coaching new hires. I think Coach White in softball, Flo in track and field, Bruce in tennis. We've gone along with, you know, our football, softball, baseball coaches. I mean, our basketball coaches. These are all coaches that fit our culture. And at the same time, we have a lot of coaches here that are just phenomenal. Right. That are great, but you just don't want to make a change just to make a change. I don't like to do that. I don't think you should do that. But when it becomes the rationale for doing it, you better have a thought out plan.
Very thorough.
And then you all are the big part of it. Student athletes, you guys play a huge role, and it's your program, you know, and we want to make sure that we're giving you your very best experience to win. But we
only got 4 years, so.
And I think everyone like, wow, you got to make. You know, what's crazy in our society today? It's instantaneous gratification. Can we just, you know, work together to see the end of the tunnel?
And this position, your job, comes with a lot of criticism, but also comes with a lot of praise. So what is your favorite part of the job, but also what is your most difficult part of the job?
Favorite part is graduation. I mean that sincerely, because I don't get too high and low on wins and losses. You know, being in it long enough, you know that you can't put all your eggs in that basket. But I think graduation is always constant. You can see someone that came in here and just struggled, but got a degree. Then you look at that and say, a degree from the University of Texas valued as $1 million more in your lifetime than not having a degree. And you can see that person go from this little, you know, bright-eyed kid then to this. When they leave here, they go, I have at least a thought, mission, what I want to be. You can see that evolution, right?
We have a better place.
And it comes by so quickly. So I like and love that. I think the worst part of the jobs is that, you know, being criticized and the things, it's harder on my family than it is on me. But because they read it. And they're like, gosh, they get, you have 2 girls of your age, and they're like, Dad, and I didn't grow up with social media. You all are on it, and you live it. So when you live in that space, it can be a spiral, right?
Totally.
Have you seen that movie, Social Discourse? It's awesome. And it's really about Netflix, about what social media does in your life. And, you know, I'm like the case. I took a break in the middle of the fall, just not to do anything, but going, guys, we can't be centered by How can you be swayed by someone you don't know?
Runs our lives.
You should not. You don't know.
Exactly.
You're on YouTube or the yellow man. What's that thing?
Snapchat.
Yeah, that guy. Or Instagram or all these things. You don't know them, but those clicks affect you. That's the craziest thing ever. Who should affect you? Those that you love, that love you and support you, not. But you know, I know you love me, but you know, Johnny in Maine said this about me. Who's Johnny in Maine?
Exactly.
Right, and that's the difference in how our sport has changed, or how our careers have changed. I think social media platforms are very good in terms of getting messaging out, but they can be really torturous if you think that's where your medium life should be. I feel bad for you all, because you should never have that as your barometer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Touching on that, what are your personal thoughts on the name, image, and likeness decisions that are being made?
It's odd because I understand, even when I was in school. So when I was in school, you had to sign a scholarship. When I signed my papers, it said your name, image, and likeness can be used to promote your sport. So I had to sign it. That was part of your scholarship.
Right.
I remember reading that and going, what is that? Well, it was to be on the poster. You don't think I wanted my picture on the poster? Oh, I was at the sorority house in a minute. Hello, ladies.
You're like, hi,
I am here. I'll tell you I wasn't BSing you. Or on the schedule card at the bank.
Right.
You know, you go down, y'all don't go to a bank, but when I was in college, you had to go to the bank to get money.
Around here, you see the scheduled posters in the shops and restaurants, all of that.
But you had to be, when you go to the bank, you'd have to go get, go meet my Nelda at the bank, Miss Nelda. She had the schedule cards. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
You were on the schedule card. I mean, I still have my poster and my schedule card at home when I was in school. So your name, image, and likeness was really to promote the product.
Right.
That was awesome. So I remember when I read it going, huh? But I never thought anything more than that, because they didn't use it when I left. At the same time, isn't there a value in a scholarship?
True.
Even a free education. So I understand, but if you're truly talented in music, or you're talented in whatever it may be, and during the year, should you be able to make money? You can work as a student athlete. Everyone realizes that you can work. But there's can I monetize my own talent? I get it. It's just evolution. It just is foreign to me in the way that it's being used today. I didn't grow up that way, but I have a great appreciation for it. It's like we have some of our kids are in that Rev gum. It's this, the caffeinated gum. It's like 17 cups of coffee in a gum. Who wants that? But supposedly it's like phenomenal. But some of our kids are involved in making this, right? I get it. I just don't know how. What I don't want to have happen, Maddie, is that you're going to have Maddie on Mondays, and whatever the mode of economics are being. It can't be a recruiting inducement.
Right.
That's the only thing that makes me nervous. Is that hopefully that we don't get taken advantage of, or this thought that it's going to be something that doesn't happen. Those things really make me nervous.
Getting taken advantage of.
And across the board, how do we land the plane that's fair for you all? As I tell everyone, as long as you guys are protected, and it's not about falsehoods, and not hey, come to the University of Texas, I'm going to give you X amount of money to be on the poster of a tractor company wherever. It doesn't come through. Yeah. And it's all built by falsehoods, or you're oversubscribing when their value is really not there. Does that make sense? It does. So that's going to be the hard part. But I agree with everything that's happening, and along with that is a one-time transfer, right? Which is nice. Crazy, because when I was in school, you had to sit out a year across all sports. So I get why we're here today. It just is different, and what you have to get used to is I grew up in the era where the Dallas Cowboys when you were a Dallas Cowboy, you were there your whole career. When you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, you're there your whole career, right? When you're a Raider, so you get to love the players, you love the uniform, and no one ever left. Free agency created these you're at one place for 4 years and you're gone.
Right, opportunities.
So you end up having to be a fan of the team, not a fan of the players.
Exactly.
So this is going to be just an interesting thought as we move through this. As someone's here one year and the next, and I get it. I get the opportunity for young people. But it's going to be just
change the dynamic a little bit.
Everything. Changes are coming.
Right. It is.
We just got to be prepared. And I believe at our place and who we are, we will be the most prepared to handle name, image, and likeness. We have a new program, Forever Texas, and our leverage program. They're going to be great for those endeavors.
Leverage is fantastic.
We have at the same time a one-time transfer. We believe what starts here changes the world. You come to the University of Texas, and it's just a different beast than other institutions because of the scale. So I think we're in the best position to be successful. But we also got to work at it. We just can't take it for granted.
I would have to agree. We're the best,
I understand.
And then last question for now, looking down the line, 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future, where do you see Texas athletics as a whole moving?
Everyone has these ideas, and don't get caught in this, Madison, when you get older. I got to have a strategic plan.
Right.
I think strategic plans get tossed out the window at every crisis.
Right.
We've had one crisis.
Changes.
Everything changes. We had a crisis a week. So what I looked at is, what are strategic opportunities? We have so many opportunities in the next 4 or 5 years in front of us that we don't know what the future is going to be hold. What we need to do is, I always tell all of our coaches, focus on here and now. What can we do now to strengthen our not only our relations with our student athletes, relations on campus, but our performance on the fields? Because when those things happen, doors will be opening across the board.
Totally.
And these last 10 years have been difficult for us, right? Because it's not because we haven't been successful. Across the board, we've had spits and starts, right? So we've had numerous ADs, numerous presidents, chancellors, coaches. We've had no consistency. My goal is to create a path of consistency. And part of that is keeping coaches, student athletes saying, okay, this is my place. Transfers coming in here, leverage of name, image, and likeness. All things we're doing that says, you know what, that's the destination. That is, we had it in the 2000s, right? Alabama's having a good run right now, right? But we're one of the few that can do both academic and athletically really great.
Really well.
Really, and that's going to be our niche. Is that we have to then know that that's around that we're swimming in, that we want you all. That's the place you got to be. But part of that is creating a consistent platform. That if you're coming from Southern California and everyone goes, SC for a long time had a stronghold there. As they should. Yeah, it's their backyard, right? So that's your backyard. So do we have a stronghold to say, you know what? What does Texas look like for that? And you can see all the companies coming in from California here.
Everyone's coming to Austin.
They all know Austin's it.
Yep.
So it's a trickle-down effect, right? Pretty soon, the rest of your town of Southern California realize this is the place to be, and I don't want them all moving here. I just want the very best talented.
Too many.
I just want the very best student athletes to move here while they're or wherever they may be, right? And that's going to be the interesting part of what we're doing.
Awesome.
Comprende?
Comprende.
All right.
We are going to now dive into our person behind the athletic director. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your family and what makes you outside of the office?
Well, makes me outside the office. Well, I have my wife, Robin, who's a math professor at Rice University, but she's met her a long time ago where she was teaching at Cal Poly as a professor, and I was a young fundraiser. She reminds me that I'm the addendum on every house I've ever bought, right? So I go, yes, ma'am.
Get that reminder.
Got the reminder, that yes. And I had 2 daughters, a sophomore at Texas and a freshman coming in to be at Texas. So it's exciting. Sienna and Sophia, they're kind of like we talked earlier, they live through the lens of COVID and seeing all the things they've gone through. It's been a really trying time, but they are the love of my life, and they're awesome, and that's who they are.
That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on Mondays with Madison. I have loved having you and love getting to talk to you more about your life and your athletic director career. So please like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos every other Monday. So with that being said, see you later, sports fans.
So this is Madison's on Monday?
Mondays with Madison.
Mondays with Madison.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we'll go, see you later, sports fans.
See you later. That's your deal.
That's my outro.
Outro?